Good evening, everyone. Welcome to week 5 of the Link to the Past Randomizer spoiler log tournament. Week 5 out of 7. We have a match against between the redoubtable Qirn and the equally redoubtable dazedcloud. I'm Drosy. I'm here with Clearmouse. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, actually. This is a great day for Rando. I am very much looking forward to watching these two friends race.
Yeah, should be a good race. And honestly, I'm surprised, and it says something about, the caliber of all the players in this tournament that these I would have expected both of them to be 3-1 at this point.
Oh yeah, no, I mean there have been a lot of upsets certainly in this tournament. And Drosy, I don't know if you noticed. So when Daze was first generated his start screen, it was very last minute and changed it. This is mean. What do you think about the seed? If that's the case, going through their heads.
Well, green pendant TR, something's got to be there. On principle.
Alright, so we saw both players starting out at Sanctuary deny the Sanctuary chest. Looks like either we're making our way towards Kakariko or maybe the Lost Woods. But judging by the south-ish, downish movement of both players, looks like there's something here in the village.
Hopefully not something they need bombs for, because they don't have bombs or money to buy it.
Or maybe the well will be fortunate for them.
Well, now they have money for bombs.
And a book. And some nice safeties. Okay, so it looks like they don't want anything from the back. Very nice synced out of coming out of the well here.
And yeah, that was very convenient for being able to buy half magic in a hurry. Not that we have anything to use magic on.
Alright, so it looks like we saw Qirn take a very small detour to go buy some bombs. Meanwhile, dazedcloud is heading down to South Shore with 200 rupees in hand.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I hope dazedcloud's decision not to buy bombs doesn't come back to bite him.
Certainly won't blow up in his face though, right?
You were calming with Hammer earlier today, I know.
I think we did see dazedcloud picking up a heart container, right, out of the dam, and looks like there is something in the flooded sunken treasure.
And Qirn's not bothering with it.
Ah!
Oh.
Alright, well, speaking of 10 bombs.
Definitely not coming back to bite him, but Qirn's decision was certainly a little bit faster, though it means 50 fewer rupees and 1 fewer heart container.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what the resource management is like. And, in like a lot of the spoiler log about resource management is just like risk versus reward. How much time, how many resources am I willing to spend to save however many seconds? So in this case, it seems like Qirn had decided that he was going to spend 50 rupees because he most likely could spare 50 rupees to buy the bombs.
It's also worth noting that pack of bombs that dazedcloud picks up, we like to call it the Uncle Bombs, because there is no 10-bomb item in the vanilla game. It was added to the randomizer because if you're doing a standard opening that isn't assured sword... Oh, and there's the Moon Pearl, how about that? One of the weapons Uncle can give you to start is 10 bombs.
Alright, so we do see Qirn putting those bombs to good use. Picking up the big key. Looks like dazedcloud perhaps might have a little bit of trouble. These guys unfortunately move, so it's a little bit harder to kill Boswell, but looks like he gets it on the second try. Alright, so we do know that we do see that Desert is not boots locked. With this type of output, most likely they are not going to beat Desert this time around, and most likely it looks like they're just going to go after the main prize, which is the glove.
The vanilla glove, to be precise.
Ah, yes. Yeah, sometimes you play all these randomizers, watch all these seeds, and sometimes just forget sometimes that things can in fact be vanilla.
I've seen more vanilla gloves than you'd expect. Now Qirn's going over to eastern area, or at least the Hostrala hut.
And one difference we also did see that Qirn do in Desert Palace that dazedcloud did not is that Qirn spent some extra time picking up pots and gathered 15 arrows. So I guess I'm curious if that means there is an incoming bow, such that he wants to use those arrows for it. But we have a hammer and a bottle and more money. Okay.
So that's Dark World access.
5 minutes in, Dark World access. 4 hearts. No problem. So I did see a little bit of divergence. Looks like dazedcloud wants to spend a little bit more time in the eastern area, so perhaps he wants to take in Eastern Palestine. Or he is just heading south to the Dark World portal, or somewhere else. Whereas Qirn chose... go ahead.
I was just going to say, looks like dazedcloud is going for that portal, and yeah, sorry to interrupt.
No worries.
So Qirn's choice might have been a bit faster for going up to Pyramid Catfish area, well now just Catfish. That is literally the only thing he can do up here.
Yeah, no hook shot, no flippers means he can't get anywhere else. Of course, Qirn, does need to be a little bit careful. He is on 1 heart. I don't imagine him having too much trouble. It looks like making his way to the Catfish, but with Dark World enemies and sometimes their unpredictability, you just it certainly wouldn't hurt necessarily to take some more caution. Whereas dazedcloud with a full 5 hearts can just recklessly waltz through the Dark World.
Yeah, it's definitely letting him make up some time against Qirn. This is sad. Both of these guys are such good players. I hate to see either of them lose, and yet one of them is gonna finish tonight with a losing record, which is just crazy.
It's really unfortunate. I agree. It looks like we did see a Catfish with the vanity item of the game. Qirn remembering that the mirror lets you warp back to the entrance of Sanctuary, certainly faster than walking out.
So Qirn is gonna go up Death Mountain. Provided Hera isn't fire-locked, he can finish it.
And so it looks like Qirn is choosing to make a very common logic break, or a sequence break. This path going up the mountain to pick up the old man in this cave is, as you might see, totally dark. Does logically require the mirror for him to be able to have Death Mountain access. However, given the caliber of these players, make it through this dark room. Always nice to see old man leading old man to get a sword.
Yeah, now the interesting thing there is usually players will do that with a sword and they'll charge up a spin attack and hold it out to find their way in the darkness, but since the runners don't have swords, well, Qirn now does, he was using bombs to mark his place on the way up.
Yeah, certainly. We find a really nice prize up on Spectacle Rock. Unfortunately, we can't get to it quite yet with our current equipment.
What?
Oh no, we have a mirror. Oh my gosh, how did I forget? How did I forget the mirror?
That's why they grabbed the mirror.
Yes. All right, so now Qirn can go save and quit right off the mountain. Actually, we see dazedcloud spending some time in Village of Outcasts.
Yeah, he just pulled a sword out of chest game. So that tells us 2 swords, but now he's in Pendant Thieves, so there'd better be something useful in here.
Not even green Pendant Thieves. Yeah, so speaking of which, so in a spoiler log race, we actually, as viewers and commentators, have knowledge of where all of the crystals and pendants are. The reason being is that because the players have a spoiler log, the chances of them doing a map check in this race is very little, probably next to none. So therefore, our tracker, Adalor, has been very kind to pre-populate the trackers here with the crystals and pendants. Qirn picking up his Master Sword now from the chess game. Potentially he looks he might end up following dazedcloud into Thieves Town.
Gotta be something big back here.
Yeah, going pretty far too. Could
and
be
so
on the boss,
early
could be
on.
inside. Yes. And actually, we do see this will be kind of like one major difference because Qirn made an extra trip to the mountain, and the fact that he has boots, he will have probably a more convenient time here in Thieves Town.
But dazedcloud will have an easier trip to the mountain since he'll have a sword to be able to hold out.
Alright, so we do see dazedcloud bombing the skylight and not picking up the chest, which is a very strong indication that Blind, in fact, is holding a prize. So this could be a pedestal because it's not a great pendant, but most likely it is something on the boss himself.
Except Qirn's not going upstairs at all. Which leads me to believe that one of them misread the log.
That is very interesting. Because based on dazedcloud's actions, it seems like blind is required. But based on Qirn's actions, he just wants something from maybe the big chest.
So they get flippers. Qirn mirrors out. dazedcloud takes a death. I don't know if that's intentional. Seems like it since he just walked out. So.
Okay, so then perhaps nothing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess my best guess is dazedcloud read blind cell and thought it was on blind.
Oh yeah, that certainly could be likely. Mm-hmm.
You have to be careful with how the spoiler log writes things out. Like, I've seen runners misread big key chest as big chest.
Yeah, also in the spoiler log, yeah, you're right. Actually, we see Qirn picking up Titan's bits from the library. Certainly very convenient, very efficient routing here because he had the boots, he was in Dark World and he had the mirror, so he's just able to very efficiently pick up the bits.
We also saw both runners pick up Ether, which is locking Turtle Rock, and that's the only thing it could possibly be useful for, so I'd say there's gotta be something in that nice green pendant Turtle Rock.
As we see Qirn picking up the Fire Rod. Coupled with Half Magic, that will certainly make Qirn's life a lot simpler.
So Daze now has his Master Sword. Oh, Qirn's going into Hyrule Castle.
I don't know if he faked us out or not, but looked like he was going towards Aga for a second there before heading down to the basement. Yeah, and I think you were right, Jossie, about dazedcloud potentially wanting a sword or a better kind of like guidance to get him up the mountain here. Because certainly one thing that he did pull out of Face Down was a sword, and help him get up the mountain.
And now with those boots, he's pulling Ether Tablet, which we did not see Qirn do that I recall.
Right, so Qirn I think only had the fighter sword that he got off of his counterparts.
Oh, right.
And so he couldn't pull he couldn't get the prize off of the medallion. And dazedcloud gets dead rocked. Oh, that is those dead rocks are mean.
And he's not doing Hera here, which makes me wonder if the big key is vanilla and he's waiting until he has the hook shot.
And so we saw on Qirn's side, picked up a lamp from Hyrule Castle proper, well, so these guys already have Dark World access, traditional Dark World access with the hammer and the glove, and also Mitts in this case. So chances are it's not for Dark World access, but so most likely, coupled with the boost, there's probably something on the ground.
Yeah, that's the only reason you would do this. And dazedcloud picks up the medallion that we know we'll need, since Meyer is a crystal today.
So what goodies do we have in Paradox Cave today?
Ooh, fairy in a bottle, nice safety. Qirn's really tearing through Aga Tower there.
So we
have a...
go ahead.
That's a lot of heart containers. He got 2 full heart containers next to the bow there, and he got another full heart container on Ether Tablet.
And he picked up the bow from Paradox Cave. And actually, if you it looks like Daze is now heading up to Hyrule Castle, so presumably he's going to go get his lamp and also climb back a tower. And we can actually just see the very stark contrast between how many hearts Qirn has, which is currently 2.5 out of a total 4, versus dazedcloud, which currently he has 5 out of a potential 8, 6, 7.
It's also interesting that both of them decided that since they have to go to Hyrule Castle anyway, they'd take this detour to get the lamp.
Yeah, have you ever climbed Aga Tower in the dark? It's really not that fun.
Oh, true. I mean, these guys can probably do it in the worst rooms you can use the fire rod in, but
yes.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, certainly to get through, I guess, like the maze part, you can make a direct fire shot to light one of the torches, so that would make your life a little bit easier, but there are a couple extra rooms moving forward that are less visible. And I think unless you like feel pretty comfortable on them or just practice them a lot, I mean, you know, especially the lamp being that close, it's probably just worth your time to pick it. You know, take the extra whatever 30 seconds to pick up the lamp.
Hey, we didn't even ask chat to guess on how many blue balls Aga will fire, but so far I haven't seen him fire any. Oh. There's one. The log does not tell you how many blue balls on Aga. Oh, and there must have been another earlier, since that didn't end the fight.
Yeah, so we also do see another difference. So in that, I guess, like second room with the 2 ball and chain cards, dazedcloud using some more traditional, I guess, like damage strats, basically like poking his sword and then waiting for the guards to come towards him and eventually doing a spin shot. Qirn, whereas he had the fire rod and half magic, so he was just kind of able to like burn through everything.
Yeah, it's really nice that those ball and chain guards go down in one hit with the fire rod.
Okay, so with Aga 1, excuse me, down in Qirn's side, you can see that Hyrule now is littered with, I guess, a lot more meaner and faster guards trying to get in Qirn's way.
Especially those red guards who really want to be friends with Link.
Yes, friends. We're all friends here, right? What's a spear or two among friends?
But they don't respect social distancing is the problem.
Alright, so we're going to pick up the Lumberjack prize today, and it will be a very important cane.
Yeah, not gonna finish the seed without that.
So not only is Meyer a crystal, which means Canis Maria is hard required, given that the players had also picked up the Eagle Medallion, seems like if they want to keep going into the rock, they will also need Canis Maria for that. And plus, it's just always nice to have for crystallized palettes.
So fun facts about how the spoiler log is set up here, even if it doesn't tell you how many blue balls Aga has, it does tell you how many digs in the dig game in Village of Outcasts. It tells you what all the tree pulls are. Trying to remember what other fun tidbits it has in it. Oh yeah, it tells you what the waterfall and pyramid fairies will fill your bottles with.
Another advantage that Qirn, I think, will gain some time over dazedcloud is that he was able to use the boot to dash through Spiral Cave. Always, therapeutic feeling. Qirn's still on 4 hearts. Making his way. I mean, he's making remarkable progress for being on such low health. I mean, it's quite remarkable. But still, it's it's a little scary too.
Yeah, I'd say even without dazedcloud's little detour to the Thieves Town attic, overall, Qirn's routing's been a bit more efficient.
I do actually like dazedcloud's move off the pyramid. So he had boot. So I think what Qirn did is he hopped down and then he mirrored to use through the Aquan portal, and then he mirrored back. Where I think dazedcloud actually he only needed to do a 1 mirror transition because he's able to do a hook speed off of the stairs and then mirror.
Yeah, and so he'll now be picking up his Cane of Samaria. Then he'll need to get his mitts. Maybe do what Qirn did and go to the Dark World so he can mirror to Library for the mitts, and then mirror to Cave 45 for that Fire Rod.
That would be, that was going to be a nice route.
But this is actually kind of unusual in a spoiler race that we are 24 minutes in and do not have a single crystal.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just not convenient for them. So maybe Qirn, or these runners' strategy is to pick up, I guess, as many progression items as they can before, I guess, just go moding every single dungeon. Or maybe it just wasn't convenient for them at the time for their routing to be able to complete the dungeon. I see Qirn picking up his Temper Sword, certainly a very nice firepower there. So like as you mentioned, dazedcloud was in the vicinity of Hera, but chose not to, even though he had the equipment to do so. Most likely it's because chances are he wanted to wait, let's say, for the hook shot.
Another nice spin speed job by dazedcloud until that red guard refused to social distance.
That red guard, I mean, that he can be very assertive.
Though maybe his helmet has like an N95 filter in it, you don't know.
We see Qirn taking a Samaria block on his way through Dodo Rock.
Yeah, I've never seen someone hold a Samaria block while standing on a Samaria block.
Qirn, remembering that he does not have the hook shot to do this room the fast way, so he will do this room the intended way. So certainly quite a bit of divergence. We see dazedcloud now in Skullwoods, so presumably because this is a crystal, he will complete it. He has 8 hearts, 4 out of 8 hearts. He has half magic, he has a fire rod, he has the master sword, he also has a hammer. Should be relatively okay.
And as chat's commenting, the only items that these runners absolutely need to pick up at this point are the flute and the hook shot.
Chain Child's not cooperating here with Qirn.
Not remotely. While dazedcloud is 2 rooms away from Moth.
Let's see if Moth will be kind today. He does get the initial spin, which does count as 2 shots out of 8. Firing the hook shot, or the fire rod here, to try and displace Moth from, I guess, like being kind of like lodged in the upper screens there. Still not cooperating very much, Moth.
Remember, he does have that fairy in a bottle, but he doesn't need it.
Yeah, certainly, those patterns were pretty pesky. Congratulations to dazedcloud for a very nice fight here. Meanwhile, Qirn is constantly just kind of like teetering on 1 heart here, 2 hearts there, finding the hook shot in Pendant Turtle Rock. Always a nice place.
At least it wasn't on Laser Bridge. And the unfortunate thing is, since they've beaten Aga, if they save and quit in the Dark World, they will respawn in the Dark World.
Speaking of save and quit, did you see how fast that screen loaded after Qirn saved and quit?
Yeah, so nice. We had version 31.0.5 released yesterday, and there's no longer that delay after save and quit.
Thank you very much, ALTTPR devs, for making that fix. I think you've made a lot of runners happy. Or less angry, however you want to look at it.
And Qirn is now in Ice Palace with 6 hearts and green mail. dazedcloud is in Ice Palace with 8 hearts and green mail. I guess either way you can take 1 hit from a cold stare puff.
Yeah, Ice Palace is really a really difficult palace. Like you're essentially, you know, especially with the defense that these guys have, you're essentially just in one hit KO, like constantly. So it looks like Qirn is setting up for Icebreaker. We will see in this case if he can execute. dazedcloud also going for the same trick. Qirn gets it very nicely.
dazedcloud having trouble getting the right setup for laying down the block.
Oh, he does get it.
There we go.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So Qirn ended up picking up the key on the chest. I guess it might be fast. It's probably faster than just in this case we see dazedcloud picking up this key. Although he did not pick up. Yeah. Okay. So I guess he just wanted a heart refill. So most likely dazedcloud will not need to open this chest here, but does anyway.
The more keys, the better.
Yeah, you can sell them later, right? It's like converting retro.
And Qirn is on cold stare. Remember, he can only afford to take 1 hit, but he does have that nice fire rod with half magic. 2 puffs down, 3 puffs down. For a French vanilla blue mail.
Yeah, that blue mail would have been a lot more useful before cold stare. Just a thought, game.
And I think I can spoil this since there's no way we're seeing it. The red mail is on Trinex, and the ice rod is in GT, so there's absolutely no way we're seeing red mail. Now, Dazed has a bit more of a challenge here.
You were
but
saying?
he gets it right with his last drop of magic.
Yeah, a fire rod and half magic is certainly probably one of the best things you can have for a full stare fight.
Yeah, chat commenting that interesting that dazedcloud's first 2 crystals just happened to be the 5/6 crystals. And Qirn is making his first 2 crystals the same.
These red guards, man, they just won't let up.
Yeah. wonder if dazedcloud didn't save and quit just to save his hearts, because now that save and quit's shorter, it certainly would have been less time, but then you don't start with full life.
Yeah, I am curious to see where he ends up going up next. You know, the fact that he, I guess, like wanted to keep all of his hearts. And so as dazedcloud is picking up the bomb, so one nice thing about the fact that you have beaten Aga is that you don't actually have to take the long way around and hammer down those pegs on the bridge. You can just go up the screen and use the portal.
Which is, you know, what the game intended you to do, because the game expects you to have beaten Aga at this point.
So we do see Qirn taking down Moth. He had, and we saw Qirn picking up the flute. It's absolutely necessary, and another heart container.
So we're now in no mode. We know where all the items necessary to beat the game are.
dazedcloud taking advantage of those iframes right after you mirror, so he doesn't have to deal with the red guard. Of course, then there are like 5 other guards just running after him.
I was just thinking that this route that dazedcloud's taking from Hyrule Castle to Kakariko, you almost never see it in regular, but since this is spoiler and routing can involve weird things, the runners have now done it twice.
Yeah, especially the flute being so late, right? Being in Pyramid Fairy, and the fact that they kind of had to go to all sorts of different corners of the world to get everything. Yeah, I mean, like going from one place to another certainly will have to require some more creative routing if you want to be more efficient.
So I imagine Dazed will also stop by Super Bunny Cave and get his tempered sword.
Are we going to see the bomb dupe here by Qirn? He is successful. All right, so what he ended up doing was so typically with the bomb, because you have your follower like that, the same button, I guess, to activate the bomb is the same button as dashing. So in this case, once you kind of like place the bomb down, you can't dash with it anymore. So what Qirn did was he activated it and then dashed, and then if you switch screen transitions on the same time that the counter hit 0, you can actually duplicate the bomb to like your exact location. It is actually pretty tricky because the timing can be a little bit iffy, but he did it in this case very well. So it made even taking the shortcut, he made it even faster.
And that's sort of Qirn's go mode, sort of because, well, the runners were in go mode at 0 minutes, right?
Yeah, I mean, they knew where everything was. They just had to figure out how to get to all the things. Not like that's hard or anything, right?
So now Qirn's pretty clearly ahead because he has everything he needs to complete the seed and 2 crystals. dazedcloud has 2 crystals, but still needs to make that foray into TR.
Yeah, and given that the hook shot is in the big chest of Turtle Rock, it is quite deep in the dungeon. As you said, it's not quite Laser Bridge, but it's not too far off from Laser Bridge either.
Looks like Qirn's going for Swamp now.
He had a very nice reactive maneuver out to transition the screen. I think he was going to get hit by the bomb bird thing. Switch transition just in time to avoid the hit. We actually see dazedcloud making a very nice recovery. He, I think, forgot that he did not have hookshot, so probably muscle memory just kicking in, that he's going to do the room the quote-unquote normal way with the hookshot, but given that he didn't, he immediately actually was able to recover and go the opposite direction, so he can do this room the originally intended way.
Though there's nothing stopping you in the vanilla game from cheesing it with the hookshot, and that's in fact what NMG runners do.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
So Qirn coming right along with Swamp here, and since he's clearly not going left side, he's really most of the way through the dungeon at this point.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to see Diver down here by Qirn to skip a couple screen transitions here. Looks like he is on his way to set this up. So I'm not actually sure if Qirn prefers using King of Samaria or bombs, but I guess we'll see.
I guess it's bombs. Gets it first try.
dazedcloud having a little bit of trouble bombing open this door. I mean, those lasers. If he had died there, which I don't think he would have died from a laser hit. But if he did die, that would have been a pretty costly death.
Yeah, though I don't think the middle one fires, so if you're lined up with the door, you shouldn't get hit. Wow. I guess that's still not quite a zero cycle because Argus waited to send out the R guy that he no longer had, but that is certainly a quick kill.
I think maybe Qirn's played this game before.
A few times.
So dazedcloud having everything that he needs, he will, looks like, be on his go mode dungeon spree here.
And Qirn's going for pod. There's another red guard
those
trying
red
to chase
guards,
him
man.
down.
And normally, you know, when you beat Aga, like the world kind of changes to get to make the guards a lot meaner and faster, right? And so sometimes, if it's possible, then sometimes runners will try and put off Aga, so then like the overworld doesn't change as much, right? Because they don't have to play as much defense. But it seems like in this case, because the King of Samaria was sitting on Lumberjack and Hookshot was sitting in Pendant TR, it seemed like they didn't really have much of an option other than to like get the cane sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's really one of those what you gonna do seeds. You just kind of deal with it. It also means on Death Mountain there are a whole lot more Tektites. Now, pod is always interesting in a spoiler log race because there's so many small keys involved. You have to figure out, okay, where's the big key? How many small keys am I gonna need to get to it?
It looks like dazedcloud will show us the alternative version, which is using the Qirn strats to do diver down.
And he's pulling the cape there, which is a nice safety to have.
I guess the big key is really buried.
Could even be in Dark Maze. Qirn was first thinking he'd grab another key to enter Dark Maze the normal way because you still need another small key to get to the boss. And now he's decided, I'll just hammer Yump and save the key.
And you can definitely see this is most likely routing on the fly by Qirn here. Alright, big key in hand, small key in hand, Key of Samaria in hand. Bow in hand, he is ready to kill Helva.
And dazedcloud takes down Argus. So our runners are now separated by not quite a dungeon.
Given that our runners actually have a lot of like all of the progression that they need, I think they can probably just do all of their dungeons kind of like at their discretion or whatever they feel comfortable with. Looks like in this case, dazedcloud is following Qirn into pod, but there's probably nothing stopping him from, let's say, doing like Desert and Mire.
Well, that cane is a really nice safety for Vitreous. So it makes sense that they would go to pod to get... Did I say cane? I meant cape. It makes sense that they would go to pod to get the cape first before doing Mire.
That hammer hit that Qirn had was a little weird. Like it smashed and then like it smashed, but then it didn't register. So I think it didn't like quite catch all the turtles. But still no harm done. Qirn gets through. $17 hits to the face with the hammer, and having Temper Sword, this should be a relatively easy fight. And both runners at this point certainly do have blue mail, so that's even a nicer safety.
Yeah, they're in a much easier position against Helma than the game expects you to be.
So we do see one of our runners here in SpeedGaming 3 chat with us. So one of the features of the spoiler log race is that because runners have the spoiler log, so then they know where everything is. Not only are they allowed to watch each other's streams, they are allowed to watch the restream and chat with us. So if you want to say hi, hi Qirn. Good luck for the rest of the dungeons.
So yeah, this makes sense. Do Mire, Mirror do Desert, or vice versa, and then go up Death Mountain, Mirror right in front of GT, do Hera, and that's that. And we had to get rid of that Murder Dactyl because as flying creatures, they are invulnerable to Quake.
I do think it's a very nice touch for game developers to actually be thinking about like elemental damage. You know, in this case, as you mentioned, Quake is primarily for enemies that are touch the ground, and so yes, from little reactors, they do nothing. So in fact, if you use Quake, that bird will just fly right over you over and over, and you will not be happy after the cutscene.
Ooh, unfortunately, Daze did not get the hammer yump there.
Gets a second try though. Alright, Qirn making his way through mire, hoping that, as I say, while Qirn is walking to the cutscene chest, that the big key is hopefully not in the cutscene chest. But you know, having another cutscene just means that Qirn has more time to chat with us.
And the big key is vanilla, because of course.
Yeah, dazedcloud progressing very smoothly here in Pod.
Could make up a small amount of time if he can deal with the terrapins cleanly down here.
Was that 3 activations of Spooky? one for each switch hit here.
Yeah, I was about to say 3rd time's the charm, right? That was pretty swag, blowing up the Samaria block mid-jump.
You know, I keep forgetting that the skeleton is the bunny form of the old man.
Yes, the sprite developers had some really creative ideas for bunny forms.
Yeah, also, speaking of which, just like with the new release, I think this was mentioned in chat as well, was with the new release, there were actually a lot more sprites also added to an option to play, and in the randomizer, I believe there are now 283 total sprites you can choose from. So certainly feel free to pick up a seat and give it a whirl.
Yeah, just to address what chat's talking about, this is Swiss, so every week, to the extent that we can, sometimes they're an odd number, a runner will be matched up against another runner who has the same record as them and whom they haven't yet faced. But this week, I believe there were an odd number of runners with 2-2 records, so one of them's facing a 1-3.
We did see Qirn, in this case, headed straight to the back of Desert. He had already gotten the big key earlier from, way back, 15 minutes ago when he needed to get the vanilla glove out of Desert. So now, in this case, he could just go straight to the boss.
Oh, was that the same seed? It feels like ages ago.
Yeah, it seems like they've really visited Desert very, very early.
Shout out to dazedcloud for also joining chat here.
Yeah, as I looked away to look at chat, because dazedcloud was in the chat, I missed Qirn's very clean 6 fire rod shot flame mode kill. Alright, crystal number 6 down for Qirn, making his hopefully final trip up the mountain. I believe this was his this is his 3rd trip up here. I think once to get the boots, and then once to get the hook shot, etc. And then now it's time to kill the boss. Time to beat Hera and then go kill Ganon.
And it's a mandatory 3-time climb because the Titan's mitts were boots locked in the library, so you couldn't get to Dark Death Mountain without going up Light Death Mountain to get the boots and then going back down.
And this is also something that runners in general, I think, would favor. If you can make Turtle Rock, or very specifically Hera, as your last crystal, what you can do is you can enter the Dark World, mirror, go complete Hera, and then take your portal right back to the Dark World, and then you're immediately at Ganon's Tower. It's like the fastest, shortest route you could possibly take. So we did see on dazedcloud's side that he did ended up getting Spooky Edges, so I believe he will gain a little bit of time on Qirn here, going through Mire. Although I believe Qirn gets all the style points for the Cane Dash.
So, unlike Qirn, dazedcloud is just putting on that cape straight out of the gate. And as dazedcloud collects his 6th crystal, Qirn is about to collect his 7th, which means we have a little game we like to play. I'm gonna guess it's either 1 or 2 because it usually is in spoiler races.
They could pick up some safeties along the way. Maybe maybe there are silvers somewhere hiding out in G2. And so I don't know if you noticed, Qirn has said in chat, he said, check out this GT route. This is going to be a career highlight. So all eyes are glued on you, Qirn.
Oh, I miscounted too. I guess that was Day's 5th crystal because, yeah, still that whole desert shenanigans.
Qirn turning up his nose at the small key on the torch.
And was that really faster?
Qirn.
Oh, no, I'm getting both. And opening the middle door for the big key.
Alright, Qirn, that was a great highlight. I will say that there are like no seeds I've seen so far that let you open the middle door.
I remember as a kid, I was sure there weren't enough keys and that if you opened the middle door, you screwed yourself out of access somewhere, because I could never seem to find enough keys if I opened the middle door.
You and me both, Drowsy. I had no idea, even as a kid, the tile room, like, you could actually, like, wait to have the tiles finished. I thought you always had to run through that room. I never thought there was something at the end of when all the tiles finished. Turns out there's a key there.
That was probably the one I was missing.
Alright, so we can see Qirn making his way through the gauntlet. I think there was a question in chat asking where the last sword is. The last sword was in GT. It was on right side. I think compass room. One of the four there.
Yeah. Not really worth it, especially with the cape. It's easy enough to do 1-on-1 on Ganon.
Yeah, given that these runners also have the fire rod and half magic, I really don't imagine any other bosses giving these guys too much of a trouble. With the temper sword. So it would really just be probably if they can save any time again, and certainly these both these runners do not need to do that.
Oof, Qirn's having a bit of trouble with Landmo here.
I'm sorry for cursing you, Qirn.
You commented on how beautifully he did the first Landmos.
Qirn must have nerves of steel here, going up Ganon's tower with half a heart. I mean, he does have a fairy, I understand, but right now it's he's on half a heart.
dazedcloud setting up the spin speed setup for Harapot. Hasn't quite gotten it. Certainly quicker than bombs if you can line it up. There we go.
Definitely avoiding those sparkly guys. Still on half a heart.
Yeah, this is... well, he does have that fairy in a bottle. Let's not forget.
1.5 hearts, yep, yes. Oh, he does, well, I was gonna say he does have the bug net, but I don't think there are actually any readily available fairies because he doesn't have the powder.
Yeah, the powder was in Digging Game. And the number of digs for Digging Game was 23, so I don't think the runners wanted to do that many digs for safety.
Alright, so we saw dazedcloud opening up GT. I don't know if his GT routing could top Qirn's at this point.
So, I wonder if Dazed will do the same routing as Qirn. No, whoa. Having a bit of trouble. No, he's just gonna get that one key and go upstairs.
Clearly not thinking of the viewership here. Yeah, some unfortunate patterns here from Agatu. at least a highlight for Qirn, if he so chooses to do this. If he was watching, because the patterns for Ganon and Aga are fixed, he could potentially use that information to his advantage when he gets to Aga 2.
And he's not getting the Tree Fairy. And Ganon's having an identity crisis, thinks he's Kefka. This is a favorite strat of Qirn's, putting the Samaria block there like that, so that he doesn't recoil when he does spins against Ganon. Oh, let's just get rid of that by pushing it into the hole that Ganon's making.
Did you find the arrows in the light world? I'm not actually sure. The chat ended up guessing where the silvers were, so they were not accessible easily. Silvers were in the Lost Woods on the pedestal.
With the good old message, you have chosen the Archer class.
And those silvers are particularly somewhat painful to get because, as you mentioned, the Ice Rod was in GT and Turtle Rock was the Green Pendant. So then you had to get all the crystals, get to GT, get the Ice Rod, go back out, get all the pendants, and beat Turtle Rock, and then you can get silvers.
Oh, why? Are you glitching the game intentionally? No, fairy revival. He just wants to fight Ganon again. Just. Oh no! What? Okay, Qirn is the king of stupid glitches, but I've never seen that one, and it was pretty stupid.
GG's Qirn. We see a lot of runners get the GG's out in chat for Qirn.
And he records an official SRL time of 1:20:55, including the 15-minute study period, so 1:05:55. Meanwhile, Dazed Cloud is now in pre-Moldorm room. And we are joined by Qirn. Jeez, that was
Qirn.
Insane swag.
Yeah, I messed it up.
I'm so glad that we got you to restream here.
Yeah, it was not supposed to be one originally, or like I didn't see it on the schedule until like I saw people talking about it in the comms channel. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, that bomb trick, what you're supposed to do, but I missed taking damage from one of my bombs, is you're supposed to die right in front of where the bridge is going to appear, and then you'll revive on top of the bridge and go into the Triforce room in a falling animation. But it saves literally 0 time, obviously. It obviously costs time because you watch the fairy revival, and also you have to item to the bombs. So it's pretty stupid.
Yeah, I mean, so given all your kind of like late game swag here, I'm not sure if you really made like all of the optimal moves in terms of time, but we certainly gained a lot of entertainment value here.
I think honestly, I will never underestimate an opponent, and even that fall was a little bit risky because I wasn't 100% positive I had a fairy, but then I recalled and I convinced myself that I did have a fairy. But everything else, all the other swag, I would never have done anything, especially in a spoiler race, that was swag against an opponent, because I don't know. I feel like that's setting yourself up to be like, how bad do you look if you do that and then you lose. You know what I mean? Like you're the person who's like taunting somebody and then you get, you know what I mean? Like, so I even felt a little mixed about doing that in the Ganon room, but I figured that it was probably fine.
And for other Ganon things, I liked how you got rid of your Samaria block when you no longer needed it.
That was one of the issues of that fight, actually, because it does add a lot of lag when the fire bats are on screen. So you do have to manage it. It's optimal to push it into Ganon, but I had to throw it up, which is not optimal.
And then, as you were advertising in chat, GT, the middle door, not something you see every day.
I think I'm going to defend that. I think that's faster. I don't know. I mean, because otherwise you have to mirror to the front and then dash back there again, right? So, I don't know. I think it's faster.
Yeah, it seemed reasonably fast.
Only because there wasn't a small key in the Hope room. And there was one on Bob's torch.
Yeah, requires a very specific layout. The irony, of course, is that if it had... Oh, Days does have the fairy, right? The irony is that if it had been a non-spoiler race, you would have gotten the big key in the first chest. But since it was spoiler, you got the big key in your second check.
Yeah, I was considering, Drosy, when I heard you say first or second is your guess, I was considering grabbing the right chest first. Just again, I don't ever want to, like, I don't know. I feel like doing stuff that loses time can sometimes be disrespectful to your opponent, so I don't want to do that. But like, you know, but on the other hand, there are runners like oh my god, why can't it? Runner Watcher, right? Oh, is it right? No, I've got that wrong. Anyway, who's the one who makes the Firebase tracker that the Firebase tracker is based off of? Why can't I remember?
Now I'm blanking too.
Somebody's gonna know in chat, and I feel bad now. But they wrote the jokes for the tavern, and so he will always do that in his races. He'll go and check the joke. You know, so like that's not disrespectful, but I don't know. I feel like sometimes swag's, you know, hyper swag can be a little disrespectful.
And by the way, GG's to dazedcloud, who has just taken down Ganon with some very nice use of Fire Rod and 3 hits per cycle, and gets an actual SRL time of 1:25:53, so just under 5 minutes difference here.
Nice.
Yes, my personal favorite piece of swag is talking to Aegina if you go see him after you've gotten the Master Sword.
What happens when you do that?
Hey. We were joined by Cloud.
GG there.
Good game.
And Qirn, just to answer that, it's where he makes the remark about the jazz hands, guys.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's fun.
Anyway, Dazed, yeah, what are your thoughts on that seed and the lovely early Aga?
Well, like, I saw the, I saw that spoiler log, and I'm scrolling through, going, okay, yeah, that's not great. Good pendant thieves. Oh, okay, great. Then I get down and I see Master Sword pedestal, and I'm going, wait, what? There's a bow there. And I'm going, so I started thinking to myself, oh god, is this really that bad? And then I looked a little further and found the other boat, but it was just that, I mean, and going into this, I'm kind of knowing that I'm gonna be probably chasing Qirn the entire time. I mean, like, I watch his videos to learn stuff, so I'm not exactly expecting to win this game. But my execution is nowhere on his level, so GG's to him completely there.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Oh no. I was actually gonna say, like, I certainly don't want you to sell yourself short here, because I mean, throughout the entire run, I certainly don't think your execution was lacking. You did like an incredible job, basically just going through all the measures. I don't really think that you had any major mistakes. I think you missed the hammer jump once, but you definitely got a second try.
Oh, I mean, like, that's the thing though with Qirn. Like you're going up against a guy who, all right, I played not perfectly, but I played really well. and I lost by 5 minutes. So,
But I think that was mostly routing, not execution. I mean, you got spooky and Qirn didn't, for example.
ooh, okay, nice.
Yeah, you stomped on me there. I messed that up big time. But yeah, no, I think they'd also, like, I wonder how much of a factor, because I don't really know the answer, but how much of a factor the early boots / trying to route in more of Super Bunny Cave, like, because I did Death Mountain, I think, in one fewer trip or something. I don't know, we did it slightly differently.
It was required 3 trips, but Dazed waited a bit longer to do it, and then did East Light Death Mountain in his first trip, while Qirn, you just got the boots your first trip, and then did
Right.
Paradox Cave in your second trip, along with Super Bunny and Turtle Rock all at once.
Is observing the game, like, it seemed like that there was a gap that, like, once we resynced, it seemed like that there was a gap there that stayed fairly constant. So I don't know how much of it was execution, how much, like, the route difference was. I'm not really sure. But it seemed like the route could have been significant. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, so at least in this particular seed, having early boots, I think definitely gave you more of an advantage. For example, I think Days, when he went through Pen and Thieves Town, he was bootsless. When you went through Pen and Thieves Town, you had the boots.
Oh yeah, that can be costly.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself while I was in there, going like, I probably should have gotten the boots for this.
Yeah, actually.
And the other.
Oh no, go ahead, Jossie. Oh no, I was just. I was just gonna ask. I was gonna ask actually. So Days. So one difference in actions at Thieves Town was that you ended up going up to the sunlight room and you bombed the entrance versus Qirn just grabbed the key and then left. So like, I guess like, did you just end up reading something that was different?
No, that was just autopilot. Like you go through and you do the game so much over and over and over in a specific way that's one of the biggest problems I have with spoiler log is fighting the autopilot, because like the autopilot for me kicks in and then I go up there and now that you mention it, there was no need for me to go there, but in my head I'm like, well, Thieves Town, you got to go up to the attic first and you got to open the thing even though you're not doing anything with it. and then whoops, I guess that wasn't the case.
Honestly, dazedcloud, I probably would have done the same thing, except for I was, watching your stream, and I was like, oh, why is he bombing open the floor? You don't need to bomb up the floor, you just need to go up there and get the, what am I getting up there again? Oh yeah, right. That's right. So I probably would have done 100% the same thing.
I mean, it's not a big deal. I mean, all in all, I mean, that wasn't going to make up the difference there between us. So I mean, yeah, I mean, it was fun though. I mean, part of the reason I'm in this spoiler log, tournament is I'm not gonna win it. Obviously, I mean, I'm 2-3 now, so I'm definitely not gonna win it. But it is, it's that chance to go up against guys like Qirn and like Salty Fry last week, and like really like, put the nose to the grindstone, see if I can, see how close I can get. That's what I'm really trying to do there. This is kind of my way of getting better.
That's a great attitude to have, and also you flatterer.
Hey man, I watch your. I'm subscribed to you on YouTube. I've patched your stuff around. No, seriously, everybody follow Qirn. He knows more about this game than I've ever learned. So.
Oh, stop it!
No, I'm gonna keep doing it.
The talent pool in this tournament is certainly exceedingly high. I mean, even the fact that you guys were both 2-2 actually was like pretty surprising. Honestly, I did not expect you guys to be both 2-2. And as as Rossi was just saying early in the race, is that it's just really unfortunate that like one of you has to lose here because you both are just very excellent players.
Yeah, and it was hella fun, dazedcloud.
It was. That was a great time. Unfortunately, though, I've got to get going with the rest of my day now because, yeah. So, but I will talk to you guys all later. Thanks for the race. Thanks for the restream. Thank you to the tracker there. Thanks for everything, guys.
Yeah, GG's again.
Yeah, GG's. You put on a great race.
And same. Thank you all. I'm gonna go take a ice bath now because it is 5 million degrees here. But yeah, thank you for the restream, the comms.
Yeah, and GG's again.
Yeah, GG's, Qirn. Congratulations on your win.
Thanks.
And as our tracker Adalor is nicely putting in chat, do give these runners a follow. I mean, they're both really strong runners, as you saw. And also thank you to Adalor for doing all this tracking. Tracking a spoiler log race is really a bit more challenging than tracking a normal race because the items can just come up boom, boom, boom because the runners know where they're going the whole time. So it's definitely a challenging tracking. So I think that'll do it for us now. We do have a race in an hour, believe it or not, middle of the night racing. Amarith versus Semo or Semo. It won't be restreamed, but you can certainly watch it on multi-stream. So check that out. We have the schedule in the spoiler command. Let's get that up there for you. Yeah, so you can just check out the schedule there, and if a game isn't getting restreamed, you can always watch it as a multi-stream. And of course, we're restreaming as many here on the SpeedGaming family of networks as we can, so do give SpeedGaming and SpeedGaming 2 through 6 a follow. And Clearmouse, it was great working with you again.
Always a pleasure, Drosy. Oh, it's great co-commenting with you.
And I think that'll do it for us tonight. So I'll let you have the last word here.
Thanks. Yeah, definitely this has been a great tournament so far. Please, again, follow the runners, Qirn and dazedcloud. These guys put on one heck of a great show. Certainly looking forward to more spoiler races in the future. Have a good night, everyone.